In the previous episode, I sailed from East London to Port Elizabeth, and then, in the face of transmission issues and regular low pressure zones bringing adverse westerly winds, flew to Cape Town for 3 weeks of kite surfing and hiking. Here I finally make the 400-mile passage from Port Elizabeth to Cape Town to end the third season of my circumnavigation. The Agulhas current was predicted to have moved offshore between East London and Port Elizabeth and to continue southwest thereafter, and I only had 24 hours of northeast wind forecast before it would back all the way around to southwest and then continue backing to the south and southeast. So I chose to head offshore into the current and rode it till the northeast died, then tacked and sailed back towards Cape Agulhas. Sea Change was safe and sound in her relatively sheltered slip when I returned, although I was told they had experienced 60-knot southwest winds while I was away, and my flags, which had survived 8 months at sea, were now shredded. And the only other cruiser in the marina was none other than Barry on White Shadow, after a harrowing trip down the wild coast. We left together early the next morning, but while I went offshore, he sailed inshore to Knysna and Mossel Bay. It's December 19th. It's just before dawn, almost 5 o'clock now, and I'm leaving Port Elizabeth finally, after having left the boat here for 3 weeks while I was in Cape Town, enjoying a bit of kite surfing, but mostly avoiding strong westerlies that were plaguing the coast here. Now I have a forecast of easterlies, so I'm going to give it a go. Try to get to Cape Town. Well, that was a very frustrating early morning. Left at 4:30, but finally at 7:30 the wind filled in. Engine's not too happy, transmission's not too happy, so I was going very slowly. But suddenly filled in from the northeast as forecast, and we are off to the races. I already had to put a reef in the main, and over there is the end of the bay that we have to go around. Port Elizabeth back in the clouds behind us. So we are smoking along. We're doing 5 to 7. It's lunchtime now, Thursday 19th of December, and things have gotten pretty rough, but really nice. Got the mainsail down completely. We're still on the full jib, consistently doing 5 to 7 knots since the wind hit us at 7:30. Now it's 1:30. It's been a wild ride, and we're already off Cape St. Francis, and I'm going to head quite far out to sea. I'm going to ride this easterly, on a broad reach, because tomorrow late we're going to get a southwesterly, and then I can use a close reach to go back into shore and around Cape Agulhas. At least that's the plan. That was a wild ride last night. I left the whole jib up, or unfurled, and we were absolutely flying because we were in the Agulhas current. We're far enough offshore to be in it, and so we were consistently sailing at 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 knots. And now got the slightest breeze from the northwest here. We're barely moving through the water, and we're doing 5 knots. What a business. Yeah, it's pretty calm, but I can already feel the wind turning around to the south. Once it goes around to the southwest, I will tack and head on that direction, back towards shore and out of the current, because otherwise it's going to get kind of rough. And just like that, It's about 10 o'clock in the morning now on the 20th December, Friday. And as forecast, the southerly, southwesterly first and now southerly have come through. In fact, here it's filling in really nice as the clouds clear. And we have full sail up at the moment, but it's going to have to change soon. And we have dodged a shower in front of us that we're going to go behind, and a shower behind us which we went in front of. So it's all good. Wow, this is beautiful now. Look at this, just filled in right as I've been filming. All right, we are headed to Cape Agulhas. The point where I ran out of wind and tacked after drifting for a while was 100 miles offshore. I had several albatross sightings out here. I really just cannot get enough of them. They are the most spectacular birds to watch. They don't beat their wings at all, simply gliding past us. Ahead of us, I now had a complication because of the Ikwezi oil field, which has a restricted area around it. Plus, the shipping has a separation zone around that, with ships heading east to the south and those heading west to the north. We sailed almost into the restriction area before getting a nice lift as the wind continued to back to the southeast that took us across the separation zone and into the space in between. Well, I just got hit by a squall and a gorgeous full rainbow. Look at that. As we come out the other side. Whoops. Getting my phone wet with salt water, not a good idea. Oh, it's Saturday afternoon, 20th of December, actually 21st. And yeah, it's a long grey morning, sailing pretty slowly, 4 to 5 knots. Got a nice southeasterly breeze, taking us where we want to go, to the west. Now this afternoon the sun's out, we got blue sky, it's lovely. And we are barreling along at 5 to 6 knots. We've got almost full sail up. And I'm going to cover the microphone here and show you the flags. It's turned into a lovely day. We have 25 miles left to Cape Agulhas. We're already on the latitude of Cape Agulhas. We just have to reach the longitude. So we're at our most southerly point that we will go on this circumnavigation, which is absolutely wonderful. What a glorious day to be doing it. I hadn't had a lot of wildlife sightings, but yesterday I had a manta swim right next to us. Saw a whale spout, didn't see the whale. Had a bunch of visits from albatrosses. It's really been nice. 4 yesterday, 2 so far today. I'm going to miss them once I head up in the Atlantic. Anyway, we are going to get to Cape Agulhas before sunset, and then Cape of Good Hope tomorrow before sunset, and into Cape Town late Sunday night. Awesome. Plan has worked perfectly. Here's the chart approaching Cape Agulhas, maintaining good speed around 6 knots. Well, it's not quite Cape Agulhas, it's Tres Baja at the end here. And here we go, around Cape Agulhas. And now, finally, a lovely sunset on a great, auspicious day. Wow. Sailed around Cape Agulhas into the Atlantic. It's really spectacular, really happy to be here. Now a lovely sunset. And the clouds are already starting to colour up as the sun dips below the horizon. It's December 21st, Saturday, summer solstice, longest day of the year down here in the southern hemisphere. And almost a green flash. Wow, so cool. And another one. You get double when you're on waves. That night night I was somewhat trapped between the land and the shipping route, and chose to sail closer to the latter till my AIS alarm awoke me. By dawn it was blowing hard and we were sailing fast. And soon we reached the eastern end of False Bay, marked by the hill called Hung Clip, with the easterly wind behind us, now well into the 20-knot range. In short order I had the jib furled to about a third, and we raced across False Bay.
Yeah, here we go. Getting pretty close now. You can see clearly now the two lighthouses, one on the top and one over on the right. And then Cape Agulhas is the rock on the left, the lower one.
As we rounded Cape Point and the Cape of Good Hope at the western end of False Bay, the wind had clocked back to the south, so I jibed the jib to the starboard side where it would stay for the next few hours, sailing up the western side of the Cape Peninsula. There is a major navigational hazard called Bellows Rock, 2 miles south of the Capes, but it was rather obvious with the large waves breaking on it. It also provided a reference point for my sister Pam, who had raced down from her flat in Milnerton to pick us out of the chaos.
Pretty wild still. So glad that I got around with the sun out. Banks of clouds coming in periodically. And the waves are 2 meters probably, and occasionally 3. Some of them are cresting, but none of them are breaking seriously. We're doing 6 to 7, 8, 9 when we surf. It's lovely conditions. You have to go fast to let the wind pilot steer. This is Olifantsbos, a place we come to often, but I can't afford to go any close because bigger swells are breaking way out here. Something called albatross rocks on the charts. Zoom back. The wind is lightened down, the waves are much smaller because the wind is with the current, and it's just these big swells coming through from the south. So this, whoa, look at that one. Wow. Alright, now sailing up the peninsula. I've passed Scarborough and Misty Cliffs and Bitsong, and now I'm coming to Slangkop Lighthouse. Slangkop is the hill on the right, it means snake head. And, my sister Pam is up there somewhere in her car trying to take pictures.
And 2 of her pictures, finding it hard at times to pick us out from the white crests.
Wow, could hardly have asked for a nicer day for this. Lovely southerly breeze carrying me by. There's the lighthouse, and then there's a huge beach here called Komaki and Long Beach, Nordhook. It goes all the way out here. It's a spectacular drive around this corner called Chapman's Peak. I'll be there soon. Here they get back together again. Gonna do a surf. 1 left behind, no, 2, 3 left behind. Here they come. Oh man, that's so cool. Wow. And off they go. We'll come around for another one for sure. Wow, what a spectacular day I'm having. Superb south wind. It's cold, but there's Slangkop way behind Lighthouse. Yeah, it's blowing hard now. Still got the full jib up, but I should take it down, furl it a little bit at least. There's the carbuncle bird, and on the left here is Landudno. It is blowing hard. Suddenly the wind is warm coming over the land. It's been cold with this water so far. I sort of expected this, but man, it was so strong and so sudden. As I came past Landudno here, just howling wind. Probably 30 knots. I made full trip. Oh man, I was laid on my side. Managed to get it filled without tearing it. Knocked down the solar panel.
By now, the infamous southeaster of Cape Town was blowing really hard over the mountains, and I had jibed back to starboard to follow the curve of the peninsula going north and eventually around back to the east.
All in the mail. There are seals eating here. And so there's cormorants and gulls, and I've just gone right through the middle of their little feeding frenzy. Oh shit. Here's the seal. A whole bunch of seals. That's hilarious. Stick their heads up. What the heck was that just went by? Well, I am now out of the strong wind. And wow, look at this. This is Sea Point. This region over here is called Bantry Bay. Very, very posh. And look at the tablecloth. The southeaster is just howling over Table Mountain, almost covering the cable car station right up at the top there, that little pimple. It never gets to Lion's Head, of course. And then this is Sea Point. And right at the end there is a little lighthouse, red and white candy stripe. And that's Moodley Point, and I'm going to head on over there, run out of wind, and ask for help. Alright, there's the front of Table Mountain and Campbell's Peak, and there's the World Cup Soccer Stadium in Cape Town. And there's the harbour ahead. And we're getting a breeze coming the other direction because it's coming over the mountain and down on the water. So we're actually sailing in here for a little bit. I don't know how long this is going to last, and yeah, we'll see.
I briefly tried to sail up to the harbour, but was beaten back by the southeaster blowing through it, and the transmission was slipping, so I could not motor in. Earlier, I had heard on the radio that the National Sea Rescue Institute boat, Rescue 3, was doing a training exercise. So when I reached this point, I called the NSRI and asked if a tow was possible, and about an hour later, the NSRI boat took me under tow.
Well, this is a very sad way to finish the season, but transmission is just too weak. So Sea Rescue 3 of NSRI has come out to pull me in. Southeaster is just too strong. There's no way I could get in on my own. I could sail in, but then what would I do inside? I can't maneuver. Oh well, thanks to these guys for bringing me in. Yeah, it's blowing proper here. Probably 30 knots. Simply no way I could get in. I could have waited till tomorrow, anchored in Granger Bay, but then what do I do tomorrow? The transmission is just not good enough. So in we go with the tow, much appreciated from the NSRI Rescue 3 crew.
Here's my sister's picture of us under tow. By the time we reached the end of the breakwater, conditions could only be described as severe. We were getting heeled over under bare poles as we turned south into the harbour itself. Once inside the harbour, the NSRI crew dropped the tow line and rafted up tightly for the final stretch to the accessible quarantine dock in the Royal Cape Yacht Club. I was pleased with how well I sailed this final 3.5-day passage, despite the disappointing ending, and very happy to have Sea Change safely tucked away in her berth, while I returned to our flat with this view of Table Mountain. For 2 months of kitesurfing and hiking, not to mention fixing the engine oil leak and replacing the transmission in preparation for my 4th season sailing north to the Caribbean.